What is up everyone, and we are back with another guide about Phantasy Star Online 2. Today we are talking about skipping the Steel Series, formerly known as the Steel Series in the Japan version. The Steel Series is considered an endgame weapon and one of the strongest ones, so why would you consider skipping a top tier weapon? That is because we might get it for free in the future. If you have noticed recently, nearly every time we got a top tier weapon such as the Atlas EX, the Trailblazer and the Rivlate Series, a month or two later, they come out and we get it for free. We even have a campaign right now that gives us all three of those, so it's highly likely we're going to get the Steel Series for free in the future. The next reason is that this game is releasing content fast to catch up to the Japan version in order to get us ready for the new Genesis release this year. It's rumored that it will be in spring, so March timeframe, but I don't see that happening. I'd say probably in summertime, but that's just my guess. So let's compare the two. I'm going to be using the rifle stats as an example since I main Ranger. The Steel Series has a maximum attack of 2,555 and the potential is steady power. Potency is lost every time you take damage but recovers over time. When your potency is at 16% the maximum, it reduces damage by 40%, increases natural PP recovery by 60%, and regenerates 20 PP every 10 seconds and becomes massive. You have to remember that this bonus only happens at maximum potency. If you are hit in any way by anything like 1 damage, that bonuses are lost, making it a bad choice for people who always get hit. The Cras Series has a maximum attack of 2,728. That's a 173 attack above the Steel Series, and that is a Ranger or a rifle example. And the potential is Light Weaving Guardian. It grants the Ire potential, that is Reincarnation of Fate, the previous version required to make the Cras Series. It boosts damage by 12%, reduces PP consumption by 20%, and recovers 20 PP every 10 seconds. It's the same PP recovery as the Steel Series, but it is always active until you use 3 normal attacks. When you use 3 normal attacks, it changes its potential to give a boost damage of 18.72%, and reduces damage taken by 30% and negates knockback with a 30-second uptime and a 30-second cooldown. I may be wrong about this, but you might lose that PP regeneration when you use 3 normal attacks. However, we already have plenty of ways to regenerate PP to maximum within seconds. That is by PP batteries. If you want to know an in-depth guide about that, that is listed in the description down below, or to search up PSO2 battery weapons. However, the absolute best PP weapon in the game is the Genon series with S2 Lucent Adversity and S3 Lucent Adversity. Lucent Adversity recovers 15% of your maximum PP every time you take damage, and with 2 of them that is 30% of your maximum PP every time you take damage. What's specific about the Genon series is that every time you cast a technique or photon art you receive damage, that's its potential. Thus, every time you cast a technique or photon art, your PP will recover 30% of your maximum. As a Ranger, that is about 1 to 2 seconds to get maximum PP. Yes, this is the best weapon in the game for PP regeneration, passive and active in my opinion. For those of you who said that Trailblazer is needed as a PP battery weapon, this Genon series surpasses Trailblazer and every other option. So, if you need more PP, all you have to do is swap to your Genon series and cast a few photon arts or techniques, then you are at maximum PP. This is the fastest and lowest DPS downtime for PP regeneration. So comparing the Steel and the Cras version, Cras is much better in my opinion. On top of this, the Cras is much easier to make compared to the Steel version as it requires less materials than the Steel. So let's take a look. The Steel version requires a Cras to create it. To create the Cras, you need a Dim Rifle at plus 35, a Broad Series at plus 35, Genon Series at plus 35, 2 Lumen Crystals. Those are created by exchanging 200 Lumen Fragments and 350 Divide Metals for 1, and 200 extra Lumen Fragments on top of that. Pure Photons 200, Ultimate Boosters 20. Currently the Divide Quest gives plenty of Lumen Fragments, Divide Metals, Pure Photons, and Ultimate Boosters, so it's best to farm Divide Quest to finish this whole weapon. There are also different exchanges for Ultimate Boosters. Photon Boosters 90 to 1, Rising Weapon Badge number 5 10 to 1, Divide Metals 10 to 1, and Recycle Badges 2 to 1. So when you get all of those materials, you create a Cras at a Grand Cap of plus 35. To create the Steel series, you need a Cras of plus 35, Lumen Crystals, 6 of those, Lumen Fragments 500, and the 3 type of modules. The modules are required from the Divide quest as a weekly reward when you reach 550,000, 750,000, and 1 million points. You are awarded 3 modules each. Keep in mind that this is per character, so if you have multiple characters at level 85 main and level 85 subclass, you can do this multiple times per week to get the Steel series faster, or you can just buy them on the player shop as they are sellable. Hypothetically, if you only had one character and didn't intend on buying modules from the player shop, you would get only 3 a week unless you get them as a drop. At 3 a week, and it requires 50 of the X Gold modules, that would take you about 17 weeks or 4 months to get the Steel series. This is why it takes so long to get it, and multiple characters or buying them is a must if you want the Steel series. On top of this, you need Lumen Fragments. It requires in total 8 Lumen Crystals and 700 Lumen Fragments. However, to make a Lumen Crystal, it requires 200 Lumen Fragments and 350 Divide Metals. So, for 8 Lumen Crystals, you need 1,600 Lumen Fragments and 2,800 Divide Metals. So in total, that is 2,300 Lumen Fragments, adding both of those together, and 2,800 Divide Metals. And that is a whole lot of Lumen Fragments. Divide Metals are quite easy to get as you get more from the Divide quest than Lumen Fragments. And Lumen Fragments are exchangeable through the limited AC swap shop. One recycle badge gets you 60 Divide Metals. However, as you get higher in stages for the Divide quest, you get more Lumen Fragments than you do Divide Metals. So if you want to farm Lumen Fragments, farm the highest level Divide quests. If you wanted to buy straight Lumen Fragments through exchanging them with Divide Metals, you need 23,000 Divide Metals for 2,300 Lumen Fragments. However, you can only exchange 200 Lumen Fragments every 30 days before it resets. So there is no way you can get the Steel series within a month unless you have multiple characters and farm Divide quests every week on each one of them. So with all of this time, months farming for modules and fragments, Cras Series will likely come out before you can create the Steel series, and that's why I recommend skipping the Steel series and going straight to the Cras. To create the Cras, it requires the Iron series. Iron series is created with 20 Primordial Darkness Stones, those are from another quest in the future, Emeralds 50, Plamdest 100, X Cubes 200, Lumen Fragments 200, and Ultimate Boosters 30. However, the Grand Cap is only 30, so you need 5 more Ires to get the Grand Cap to level 30 to create the Cras. Ire can drop at a Grand Cap of 35 from the quest that gives you the Primordial Darkstones, or it can be upgraded easily with Enhanced Cap +1, that can be bought from the player shop, received from PP rewards, and bought from the limited AC swap for 30 recycle badges. Lastly, if you have a lot of Class X cubes, specific weapon type enhanced caps can be bought for 300 Class X cubes each. Keep in mind this is specific to the weapon type, unlike enhanced cap +1 that can be used on any weapon. So if you are zoning out watching this video, this is the most important thing to keep in mind. Buy these enhanced caps to reduce the amount of materials you need to create the Cras, and if you have a lot of Class X cubes, use them. They really have no other purpose than augment transfer passes, and those are limited, and 300 is required to create the Cras, so don't use all of them. So in my opinion, I highly recommend buying those enhanced cap when the prices are low, or farm your Class X cubes, whichever you prefer. So when you get your Ire to Grand Cap +35, you can finally make the Cras version, which requires Ire at +35, 150 Primordial Darkstones, 1 Divine Eye Stone. This is required from beating the Primordial Darkstone boss quest 50 times, so it's easy to get and it's likely it will be from a mission pass later. 4 Lumen Crystals compared to the Steel series that requires 6, 50 Diodes, which is easy to get right now, and 300 Class X cubes. So putting the materials together from Ire and Cras, the main materials you need to look at is that it requires 170 Primordial Darkstones, 200 Lumen Fragments, and 4 Lumen Crystals. Everything else is quite easy to get, even the Ultimate Boosters. So in total that's going to be 170 Darkstones, 4 Lumen Crystals, but since it requires 200 Lumen Fragments and 350 Divide Metals, that is the Lumen Fragment base 200 plus 800 Crystals equals 1000 Lumen Fragments. And Divine Metals 1400. And that is if you use the enhanced caps for Ire. If you don't, Lumen Fragments will be 2000. So if I were you, I would use enhanced caps to skip all those extra materials for the Ire version. Overall, the lumen fragments required for the Cras are lower than the Steel series by 200. So, on your way to creating the Steel series, the Cras will be released, likely, and you will already be halfway there to create the Cras. So why not skip the Steel series? You can also receive 2 lumen crystals from achieving 3 million Divide Quest points, and that's a title. So it cuts your requirements for lumen crystals in half for the Cras version. If you choose to skip the Steel series, the Rivlate series can and will carry you for endgame. You can upgrade to its plus potential that gives you a 7% bonus damage for the low cost of 240 lumen fragments. You can also get 300 lumen fragments with this month's mission pass at tier 30, so max out your mission pass as soon as possible or farm divine quests. So for me, I am skipping the Steel series, and I hope this video helped give you an educated decision to skip it or not. And if you liked this video and it helped you out, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos. Thank you all for tuning in and listening, and until next time.